Welcome back, everybody. We're back with another Voice in the Void episode. Today, I have with me a special guest, Eleanor Wagner. Um, Go ahead and introduce yourself, share whatever it is you want to share with us, and we can move forward. Let's get to it. Um, so first, um, I seen that you're into the paranormal stuff. That's part of the reason I did send you the uh link, which I would have sent it to you either way. But when I sent it, it was solely because I'm into paranormal stuff myself. So it was one of the things where like, okay, cool, we can potentially share
Have a
certain
conversation.
stories and
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
have a conversation and not be weird.
Honestly, I mean, we were talking a little bit earlier, and I'm from the north, and everybody is so open about the paranormal in the north. And that's only happened in like I want to say the last 10 to 20 years, right? But now that I'm down south part of the year, it's
It's
like
different.
taboo.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I put a post on social media that I'm a paranormal investigator, and these people come out of there and they're like, "That's the devil," and they start
Yeah.
quoting me Bible verses and shit. And let me tell you something, I'm a Christian woman, and I don't think that God gave me any kind of gift here because he thought I was evil. Like, I can't help it that I can sense spirits, and I'm
Mhm.
not ashamed to talk about it. And not for nothing, the wise men read the stars, so I don't think he would let them read the stars if they were, you know,
Normal?
evil or something, some
Yeah.
so it's kind
Uh,
of rough dealing with it down south that it is up north. Sorry,
I find
Southerners.
it to
I'm
be
glad
like
you're
a
letting
special
yourself be
talent.
receptive. Huh?
I find it to be like a special talent if you can like sense the more or less emotion in the air.
Or
Like
if
you
you
know how people can feel.
empathic, that's like
Yep.
kind of the vibe.
Yep. Which is hard to come by people that are that way as well. But you get people that also won't say anything about it solely because they
Of
don't
that.
want to they don't want
Yeah.
to be picked on or in other words, teased, bullied
Or called
because
crazy
or
or
called crazy because they're
institutionalized.
different.
Yes. Yeah.
And
It's very true. Yeah.
I used to be one of the kids. By the way, I grew up in a couple different houses that was say scary. Um, just because like one house I grew up in, this is my mom and her ex-husband, they lived in the house. Then a few years later, after we all moved out, my dad ended up moving into the same house. Then I moved in with him into that house. Then I was there by myself and I got to experience everything differently because I was alone. So, because he was a truck driver, so he was always gone over the road. I was just there basically to keep the house clean
Okay.
and um but it's one of those things where people talk about how they see that dark shadow in the corner of their eye, like something's looking at them. It was like that, but I could see it plain as day, like it was standing in front of my face.
Now, Dark Shadow, were you a young kid?
I was around 6 or 7 when it first started to happen.
That's the same thing that happened to me. I was about 4 or 5, right? And I lived in the
Mhm.
house and I saw this dark male figure shadow in the corner of the room in my house. And he would walk to me and stand at the edge of my bed. And, I was little at the time, so I didn't know not to be afraid. Didn't know that he was just trying to get my attention because he knew I could see him. And then,
Yeah,
when I was telling my parents about it, they just thought I was dreaming.
shrugged
And
it off.
yeah, it was just a dream. They thought they had this kid that was having nightmares who was sleeping in bed with them because they were afraid of the dark.
Yep.
Um, and it wasn't until I got older and started really looking into this sort of stuff that I understood that this spirit knew that I could see him and was just trying to get my attention. I actually named him too. I referred to him as Uncle Paul. And I don't know that he was
I named mine. I named the
You
two
see,
that
I
I
don't
was
know
saying.
that he was imprinting it on my mind, Brandon, that that was his name, because I did have an Uncle Paul that had passed away before I was even born. So whether that was him or not, I don't know. But they do imprint their names if you're listening. So the fact that I received this name, Uncle Paul, maybe his name was Paul, just like you named
Right.
yours. Maybe that spirit's name was the name that you were calling them, and which I think is really cool if you are able to communicate that way. But if I could go back to that house now and go in, I would say, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, Uncle Paul. I didn't know you were trying to get my attention, because now I know, but back then I didn't. And then I didn't have
Right.
the nurturing parents that understood and respected that sort of thing, where they would say, "Oh, she's seeing spirits," because there are people that do understand that. And when they
Hmm.
bring their kids up to understand that it's not anything to be ashamed of, it's not anything to be afraid of, it is real, you're not imagining
Yeah.
things. It's just a different world for them as they grow older than it is for somebody like you or I that, you know, have this ability and we don't know what it is or
Yeah.
understand.
My dad didn't believe in it at all. He started to at one point, but he didn't believe in it. My mom believed me a little bit, but my uncle, he's the one that actually like he was all in with me when it came to that stuff. Um,
Did he
because
have
he,
any experiences of his own that
yes, he was actually he's what you would call a he's a empath.
okay,
But he
that
could
explains it.
he could very much so sense things and see things more clear than I could. And he went there, and when we walked down in the basement because the basement was the worst part. And the basement, it was quite literally is just bricks, basically the foundation of the house that someone dug out, put stairs and a door.
Hmm.
There was no real flooring, nothing like that. Um, but what me and a couple buddies used to do because um we were testing something, and one of my buddies, he could in the same sense feel and understand what was happening. So he could feel but not see type thing. So we put a chair in the basement, and the it was one of the old pool cords for the light for the basement. So sat directly under the pull cord. We shut it off, and well, he did. Then he said something happened, so I said, "Okay, I'm gonna go down there. Uh, come check on me in 5 minutes." And sat there and shut the light off. And when it was probably about 2 minutes in, roughly, the light came on. Then when I stood up, because I thought my buddy came downstairs early, I turned around and it was a dark right in the corner, like a dark figure, very, very big guy, or um shadow. Uh and it was one of the things, everything suddenly felt very uneasy. So, and like this house, when I say there was like levels, like not only was it technically 3 stories because that part of the basement, but it's like each room had its own thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So the basement, it was whatever that was. I slowly walked upstairs. I didn't run or nothing like that. I did shut the light off behind me. I said, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So if it was one of the things, like I think I was 14, but it was like, okay, it scared me a little bit. But I was like, you know how I can't see you, you can't see me type thing? That's how I took it. And because it's like, okay, I can't see it. I don't know if it's coming towards me, if it's staying, whatever. I'm gonna shut this light off. Just walk my sorry ass up the
Yeah,
stairs.
yeah, that was good. That was good that you did that. Yeah, you
I shut the
respected it.
door.
And I feel like if you got the uneasy feeling, it might have been that he didn't watch there. I feel like they get very frustrated when they don't get acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And you don't know how many times that spirit has dealt with somebody who was afraid. So the
Mhm.
fact that you just kind of didn't show you fear and then just walked away from it was good.
Well, my cousin went down not too long after that, and he actually came back up. With, I don't know if he did it, but he came back up with like a red mark down the middle of his back.
Mm.
So I was like, I don't know if he did it or what exactly happened, but because he was one of the only people to ever have that. It's just like a group of us played little hide and seek in the house, and I decided, hey, I'm going in the basement. I know it's creepy down there, but I'm gonna go in there. But you could remove a brick wall, like a couple bricks out the wall, climb in behind
Oh,
and
okay.
put
And
it
hide
back.
in that space.
And I crawled around to the point where you can see the stairs, but they couldn't reach you type thing,
Yeah,
like just deep enough
out
in.
of reach.
Yeah. So it was one of when the light came on, because no one was down there yet. Nobody came down. The light came on and I started hearing the stairs creak. I was like, okay, someone's coming, cool. I started slowly creeping away to where I was in the shadow, and it felt like someone had grabbed my shoulder and pulled me.
Yep, trying to get your attention. That's what happened to me too. I tried to walk out of my bedroom around the spirit to get into my parents' room because that's what I'd done so many times before to get away. And I think this one point he decided, I'm going to grab a hold of you,
Hmm.
and he did. And I was like, oh, it was so scary. And like I said, he just was trying to get my attention. And I'm sorry that I can't tell him that now, but um, as I got older, I started to be able to see the full bodied apparition. Has that changed for you too? Do you get to like you've developed it more where you can really?
Sometimes I haven't done anything or experienced anything like that since. Well, I have since, but I haven't, not quite as I would say harsh, because at that point when I felt it, I actually had it was like a four-finger bruise on my neck or
Mm,
right here on my shoulder. Because I was right up against the wall, and it was my right shoulder that had like got yanked. Then I turned around because I was like, all right, somebody got in here. I didn't see anything. And I started crawling back. I had to do a little loop around
sorry
to.
about that.
No, you're okay. I had to do a loop around and uh, well, try to get back to where I was without backing up only.
When did
But
you
while I
realize
was
that it wasn't one of your friends and that?
immediately, like as soon as it happened, because I looked and like there's little cracks in between the bricks because it's like cylinder bricks, like the regular concrete bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like there's little cracks, so the light was on, and I could see right next to me with the light on, but with the light off, you can't see anything.
Yeah,
Like it's
pitch
pitch
black
black.
in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that came on. I didn't see anything. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna get my ass out of here. But as I was turning around, I actually found it was like a little doll that was buried in the sand back there. Like I had like stirred it up when I got up. So I was like, okay. At that point, I felt like I was disturbing someone's spot, like
Mm-hmm.
someone's area.
Yeah.
Never touched it. Never, like outside of that, obviously. I even tried to bury it back up because I was like, well, this ain't for me to mess with.
Oh, that was really smart of you. I'm telling you, I actually one of the stories in that new book that you were talking about, the Morris and Sussex County hauntings. We
Hmm.
did this investigation. I was doing a book signing at an event, and
By the way,
an older
these
woman. Sorry.
I said, by the way, these are the books.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that first one there, the Morris and Sussex County hauntings one there. Um,
Okay.
the story that I'm going to tell you about right now took place in Sussex County. And I was at this book event, and this woman comes up to me and she says, I don't know if you're interested, but I live in a haunted apartment, which is,
Okay.
which is very common, believe it or not, because lots of people go through those apartments. A lot of things happen in those apartments, and a lot of people mess with things that they shouldn't. So it wasn't surprising to me that she said she lived in a haunted apartment. But then
Okay.
she proceeded to say that the apartment that she lives in with her husband was a former manor house. So you're talking a big manor house that was divided into apartments. And it originally belonged to a mafia guy. He owned it as his summer place. So think about this
Gotcha.
summer place belonging to this mafia guy. Put all that stuff in your head about what went on in this place before they converted it into apartments. And she
Hmm.
said the turnover in the apartments was crazy. People would come in and they would move out as quickly as they could. And that she and her husband were trying to get out and they were getting ready to move. So if I wanted to come in and do an investigation with my team, we had to do it quick because they didn't know how
Hmm.
long that they were going to be staying in that place. And she said,
Right.
and we have two other families that are willing to have you guys come in their apartments as well.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, great. So we arranged to have this investigation. Um, the earliest we could get all three families to allow us in was like 2 weeks later. So we are going there for this investigation. And by the time we get there, Brandon, 2 weeks later, one of the families had already took off and moved out.
Mm.
So now we're down to um, this elderly woman and her husband and two females that lived in the apartment next door that are going to let us
Okay.
come into their place. And she said that it, the apartment that they lived in was affecting them so much that they had to create a healthy room space that was like full of all this holistic and minerals and stuff to keep them safe because they were getting so sick. So, um, and of course, I go there with my mediums and we go in and they are immediately picking up on stuff. Now, I don't tell them what I know before we go in. So I have all the history from her. I know that the house belonged to a former mafia guy, but I don't tell any of my team members that. I just tell them we're going to a haunted apartment because I want to see if they pick up on stuff
Yeah, you
that
don't
makes
want them to
sure,
go in
like,
there with
yeah,
prior knowledge, so they.
correct. So we go in there, and my team members are picking up on like nasty dealings, guns, um, drinking and gambling, and botched abortions, and women and sex. I mean, come on. I'm like, how close can you get to being like in a mafia house, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, shit. They were getting bodies going out the back windows, being dragged
Yeah.
down to the lake. I mean, blood in the showers, and I'm like, oh my god, they are really picking up on this stuff, right? It was the wildest thing. And then while we were there, um, some of the mediums were seeing this elderly guy who was sickly, which was the guy, the mafia guy, and then they were picking up. Well, doors were opening and closing. They got that on camera. So that was in the elderly couple's part of the apartment. Then when we went next door to the two girls that lived together, they had their electricity was going crazy. Like their electrical bill was astronomically high. I mean, I'm talking like thousands of dollars monthly. And they're like, we don't understand. We've had them come out here to check it. Well, they whatever it is messing with that. But the clincher was these two women in that apartment, they were really interested in the paranormal too. And
Okay.
so they were novices and beginners, and they were going to different places to do their paranormal investigating because they were very sensitive. And the last place that they had been to, which was several months prior,
Yeah.
was a former institution, a mental institution. But here's the thing: while they were there, they took home souvenirs with them.
So they brought stuff with them.
So, where you didn't touch that doll, they picked shit up off of the floor in this institution and go, look what we brought back with us. And I was like, Oh my God. That explains the craziness going on. Their animals were going nuts in their house. I'm going, don't you realize you're bringing stuff home from a mental hospital
Yeah.
and you bring it into a house that belonged to a mafia guy? Doesn't mix very well.
Yeah,
So
that's like
we were like, you guys got to bring that back. You have to bring that back and put it where it came from because that is bad juju, man. You are messing with the wrong thing. And she said the one woman said she was going to bring it back. I don't know if they ever did, but yeah, not so good.
that's like what's that? There's a YouTube channel. They do the exploration stuff.
Hmm.
Um oh, what is it? The TFIL, I think.
There are so many of them out there now.
I don't know. They one of the guys, Elton, him and Matt Rife just bought the Warren Museum.
Oh, okay.
Um
Isn't it like a relative of theirs? Their like nephew or something? I don't know if unless I'm mistaken. I thought that a relative of theirs um might be involved in that. The
I'm
Warren
not
relative.
sure. I know there's a guy like the caretaker for all the items, but then there's Elton and Matt Rife own
The
uh
right?
the museum.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Um but Elton, oh, the overnight channel, I think it is. They go to like haunted houses and stuff, but he collects all these different um haunted objects. And there's times he would bring them and open them at these different places.
Okay.
Eh,
To see
eh,
what the reaction you could get
I
or what?
think so. I think it's more for a reaction, not only out of the place, but the people he's with.
Yeah.
And all I can think is first, yeah, it'd be cool to go do something like that, but it'd be terrifying, I think. Like,
Because you're introducing stuff into that energy that doesn't really
mhm,
belong there. I mean,
yeah,
it just it's not it doesn't it's not good. It's not
yeah.
good.
Well, I mean, there's people that do it, and it's just like, what is it? If you go to like, I guess like a Goodwill or something, I don't buy jewelry, dolls, like knickknacks, anything like that from any of these Goodwills or whatever. First
See,
off,
I do, but I make sure that I sage them and that I bless them before and tell them anything that's attached to them can't come home with me. Because we just did a
gotcha.
documentary in March. Somebody asked
Okay.
me to be a part of a paranormal documentary, and they said, "Could you bring us on a paranormal investigation with you?" So I did. I brought them to the Giving Tree, which is also one of the chapters in that book that I just released. The
Okay.
Giving Tree gift shop in Wake Forest, North Carolina. It's an old home. It's from like the 1920s, but just because the home is old doesn't mean anything because the property can have things active on it from before the house was even there. But
Yeah.
she knew she had resident spirits, but didn't know anything more than that. So we'd done an investigation when I started the North Carolina Spirit Hunters. That was one of the first places we investigated. And so when the documentary was happening, I approached her and said, "Would you like for us to do it in your place?" And she was like, "Sure." So we went back this past March, which was a year from when we did it the first time.
Okay.
And we already knew that there was a child spirit in the house, but we don't feel it belonged to the house. We believe it was the land prior, whatever was on there prior to this house
Okay.
going up. So having this paranormal documentary, the mediums came in, and we were able to decipher that the child that was the spirit in the house had fallen from a tree to her death, and she was probably
Mm.
about 4 or 5 years old, and that's how she was in there. But she had picked up other spirits along the way from things that were attached to donations that came into the shop because she was
Okay.
like kind of like a gift shop, consignment shop, antique shop kind of thing. So she was getting stuff in that came with attachments. In fact, when we were there, a teenager came and attached to books that were donated, and
Mm.
the teenager was newly deceased and had no clue. So we were kind of like letting the teenager know that they were in the spirit world. And
Okay, so basically, you're what I could call the ghost whisperer.
not me, my mediums. I mean, I go in and I just listen to them because they can hear and they can communicate
Hmm.
and help them. What they try to do is they try to move them into the light, because um, you don't want to have them stuck if you can help them move into the light. Everybody should be moving to the light because that's the best place to be. But some of them are just happy being where they're at. Some of them are still trying to reconcile with the fact that they're deceased. Some of them are afraid to go into the light because they're afraid that they're going to be judged. I mean, there are
Yeah.
a number of reasons why they stay behind, especially the children. The children, most of the time, just have no clue that they are deceased. So
Right.
that's rough. You try and really help them to move on. Um, but yeah, there was even that night when we did the documentary, there was actually a woman spirit that came in with her things. I guess her family had cleaned up the house, and now we're donating all of these items from her home to this shop that raises funds for local schools.
Mm.
And she didn't want to leave until all her stuff was sold. So the mediums had to say, no, no, don't worry about it. Your things will go to good homes, but you need to go into the light. So they helped her to move in. But they come in on stuff. So I told the shop owner, I said, you might want to sage things or give the building a good saging, because um, it just will help you to have less activity. Because she did send me pictures after we did the documentary of stuff that was knocked on the floor and a light that was pulled out of the wall. And she's like, because there was a guy spirit there that wasn't too happy. He was a former veteran, and he just decided that he was going to be the boss of the building, and he was clashing with the owner. And she's like, no, you can stay here if you're nice, but if you're not nice, you can't stay here. And I guess he was angry and started messing stuff up at the store. So she was sending me
Mm.
pictures of it. So that can happen.
Yeah. Um. Okay, so through one of your investigations that
Yeah.
you've been a part of,
Uh-huh.
what is one of the scariest moments that you've actually experienced?
One of the scariest. I think it was we were at in a former hospital.
Well, that just says it
Orphanage.
all on its own.
Well,
It's a
yeah,
hospital.
because I mean, back in the day, they were not monitored, so they were overpopulated, they were mistreated. So they come with a lot of bad baggage, and we had, like, you want to do this Hill House for a weekend. We were there overnight. It was just hours for overnight, and it was this massive complex that we had access to. And then
Mhm.
we were down all the way in the basement, where, of course, it's like these tunnels where they would walk from one building to the next, dark, very, very thick air, because you know that there's stuff lingering. And we were there. There was probably about six of us that were walking through the tunnels when we saw this big black mass of spirit trying to connect with us and following us. So it was because of the atmosphere and where we were at. Um, that in itself was frightening, because we were all like, "Oh my god!" And we got it on video. It's like, "Oh my god, do you see it? It's coming over here!" And then we're trying to like remain calm and say, "It's okay. We're not here to hurt you." But in that moment, in the space that you're in, it can be frightening.
Yeah.
So that was one of them. And then there was another one where I knew the spirit was an angry spirit. And so I was afraid that it was going to hurt team members. It had a thing where it would push people downstairs.
Okay.
And so we were going into this place, and I'm not really telling them anything. I'm just saying, just be careful because you never know, but you're always afraid that something could happen. So that
Is
was another.
that one of the big things that it seems like a lot of places that have stairs, that it's a lot of like pushing down the stairs, tripped or something's going up the stairs as you are and it knocks you over. It's
Honestly, I do hear people always saying, I hear footsteps, that kind of thing. I've never experienced the pushing except for at that one place. And I don't
okay.
know that it was because they were frustrated and couldn't get their attention, or if they didn't want anybody in their space. I mean, this particular home, it was a private residence, and the family had been experiencing stuff for many years. And one of the things was being pushed on the stairs. So the whole family knew, when you're walking down the freaking stairs, be careful when you're walking down the stairs because you don't want to be shoved. So when we were going in there for an investigation, I wanted everybody to be careful. And one of my teammate members did get pushed on the stairs. Um, Now, the reason why we were called in there was because the woman who had lived in the house with her family for years was now moving out, and they were going to rent the home, and they were going to rent the home to a couple with their young child. And she was really afraid that the child was going to get hurt. So she had us come in there, and we figured out it was just an angry spirit didn't want anybody in the house. So what are you going to do about that, right? So one of the team members, she was a cleanser. She cleansed houses, so she was able to cleanse the house of the spirit and shut it so that it could not come back in. Um, and then the woman, after I contacted her, later on said everything was fine and the family never experienced anything, which was good. But when somebody does that, when they do a cleansing and then they shut the spirit out, it kind of freaks me out a little bit, because I think about the other houses in that neighborhood. Because these homes were they were tract homes that people back in the day could purchase out of a Sears and Roebuck book. And so all the houses look the same. So I'm thinking to myself, you've taken the spirit out of this one house. How do we not know that it's going to think another house is its house? And it's just
Right,
going to go in
right.
there. So I was always curious to see if I would hear from somebody in that vicinity after they read the book, hey, I think that spirit's in my house now. You know what I mean? It hasn't happened
Yeah.
yet, but
Well,
I don't know, because they do know the locations that I write about. I usually give the street and the town. And so that's something easily enough for somebody to go on. Oh my God, I feel like that spirit's in my house now. You know, you never know.
um
Never say never.
there was actually one of the so I've had a couple different scary ones, but there's one I wasn't even on the property. I was at so the house I was just talking about where I experienced the different things. How I said every room was different. But I was in one of the rooms upstairs where it looked like one of the little storage rooms, even had that little cubby door on the side that you can like hide stuff behind or be like it always terrified me. But
Really?
always. But there was something like the door kept popping open, didn't matter if I had stuff in front of it, stuff
Mm,
like that. Um but it was one of the things where I was looking out the window and the neighbor's house was we called her Crazy Jane, but she was a nice lady. She's just crazy. Uh,
okay.
she but so there was an old story. Nobody really knows if it's true, but she had basically her mom passed away. They uh held the funeral, the wake at the house,
The house. Mm-hmm.
and she wouldn't let them take the body for like 3 weeks after.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom also passed away in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But on the property, if you were looking at the house from the room I was in the back corner of the property, and you could make it out, it looked basically like a demon. Like what if you think of what like a stone demon type thing at the back corner of the house, peeking around. Then I see it. I look away to tell my brother. He said he sees it. We look at each other. We look back. It's gone. Then we look. across where you can see in the upstairs of the house, and we seen her mother.
Mm.
By the way, never met her. I've seen pictures of her because I've been in the house. I used to help her carry
That's
drinks
how you
from
knew it was
this.
her from the pictures, the
Yeah,
recognition.
and but she was there, scared the shit out of me. And that same day, I had to take drinks over there, like go to the store for it as something I used to do to help her. But I brought the drinks in, and I made it through the door, and the door slammed shut on me. And I turn around, and it looked like on the stairs, she was not the lady, but her mom was peeking down, looking at us.
Mm.
So it's one of the things where, or I say at us, at me, past Jane. And she was just staring at me. She's like, I know you seen me, just staring at me. Um, and I went to open the door, but the door was stuck. So I said, hey, I asked Jane if she could open it. But when I turned around, her mom was standing right next to her. And her mom's the one that actually opened the door for me.
Do you think she saw her
Like,
mom
it
too?
was more, I think so. I think that's part of the reason she didn't want to let her go,
Mm.
is because of that. Because she knew she was still there, and she's probably afraid that when she let the body go, that she would leave with it. By the way,
It almost feels like mom is staying to keep her company, and she don't want to
mhm,
let mom go. You know that whole thing, like when if you can say to them, "You can go, and you'll be fine, and I'll be fine," kind of
yeah,
thing. It's almost like they're both there for each other, and it's just
yeah.
that's sad.
But with it though, uh, so she uh when Jane passed away, uh, it was like the house was cleared.
Like they left together.
Yeah,
That she
but
waited for her.
yeah. So
Mm,
with me, it was more scary at the time, right? Because first off, it wasn't something I really expected,
mhm.
and I had already seen Jane at the time, or her mom. Like, it's probably like an hour before. Um, but yeah, that's something I had experienced, and it scared me more. It was one of the unexpected, but I also couldn't get away. I couldn't get
Right.
out. I was trapped
Huh.
there. But the one that I say would have to be one of the worst experiences I've ever actually had is I was walking down the stairs of that, not Jane's house, but our house at the time, and I had got yanked up the stairs. Like something grabbed both sides of my shirt and pulled me to the top of the stairs. Like I
Mm.
want to say I was probably halfway down the stairs when it happened.
Oh my God, I can understand why they freak you out.
And but it yanked me upstairs, and it dragged me along the hallway a little bit close to the room I usually slept in, and it let me go. And I got up, went to run down the stairs, and it's like something shoved me, like from the front, so like would not let me go down the stairs.
Mm.
And so
But you couldn't see what it was, you just
I
felt
couldn't
the
see nothing. I felt everything, and usually even at that time, I was still noticing. I was seeing things. So, but at that point, whatever it was, I couldn't see anything. I felt an uneasy and uh, like a terrible presence with me before it happened. That's part of the reason I was going down the stairs, because I was like, okay, I got uncomfortable upstairs. We'll go downstairs. I'll sit in the living room, whatever. Nope, I didn't get to go down. I got halfway down, dragged up, dragged in the hallway, shoved. And when it shoved me, I turned around, I went in my room, I said, okay, screw it, I'm gonna go lay down. And when I went to go in the room, it actually slammed the door shut on me. So it actually hit me. Like I was stuck in the hallway. And
Was this
uh
when you were living with your uncle who was the truck driver?
no, this is when I was living with my dad, the truck driver at the house. Um, but and my dad never really experienced anything, but that was one of the most aggressive. Even when it slammed the door on me, I went to try to run down the stairs. I got to the probably bottom three steps, and it was like two hands grabbed the back of my head and just shove. So like I fell into the wall. Luckily, I had caught myself, but um, yeah, it was like I was strictly being bullied at that point,
Yeah, sounds like it.
and but I had this. There's feelings. How I said there's levels to the house, right? It's one of the things where in the house, like the basement had that giant creepy whatever it was. The main floor, the first floor, it had like it was another I call him Bo, but he was a big guy. Then in the other room, the other second living room at the bottom of the stairs, there was like a smaller uh ghost, so to say.
It's true, they do tend to stay to certain areas because I know in my house, the way I was able to get away from Uncle Paul was by going down in the basement. So when I moved my bedroom into the basement, I never saw him again.
Mm,
When I owned a shop in Sussex, it was a two-sided, it was a one building that was divided. So there was one side that was shops and apartments and the other side that was shops and apartments. And in the building where my shop was, the resident ghost was this little elderly guy. Um, but there were total series of different spirits in the building attached on the other side. So it's very strange how they do.
yeah.
I don't know why that
Well,
is, but
the thing is, upstairs, there's like two presents I ever felt upstairs and seen. So one was a kid or looked like a kid. The other one, I called her the lady in white, even though the dress she wore that I seen was like a bluish color. But she never came out of the room directly from the stairs. But the kid used to always run around the upstairs, and there was never any type of violence.
he was
So
just
it's
there.
like, huh?
He was just there.
Yeah, he was just there. Like you would hear him running back and forth upstairs. If you put a ball in the hallway, by the way, the house it was
Play with
old,
it.
but it was level, and he would push it up and down the hallway. It's like if it came down the stairs, basically once you put it back upstairs, like pretty much right by my bedroom door,
Yeah.
you'd play with it right in that area. It wouldn't go anywhere else. But when that happened, where I couldn't see whatever it was like, okay, now there's something different. And I used to pick on one of my buddies, one of my best friends, that he had what I called the extra presence. And he said after he went in the basement, he didn't feel the presence with him all the time like he used to.
Yeah, that happened to me too. I went in the basement and I didn't see it anymore. I felt actually safe in the basement.
Well,
Hey,
see,
going back to that Jane and her mother thing, I was thinking about something because you had said that when Jane passed away, it was like a cleanse, like they were gone, like
yeah,
they left together. I just did an interview with a family that had grown up in a haunted house, and they had the spirit of this little boy named Joey. And the whole family knew about this spirit, and their mother actually started calling the spirit named Joey, and she had said, "I'm calling him Joey because she babysat kids in the neighborhood, and one of the kids that she babysat reminded her of this spirit, Joey."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh no, I really feel like Joey imprinted his name in your mother's mind, and that's how she was able to establish." And then when we started doing historical research, we find out that a little boy named Joey died on the property. And so
Oh,
I'm thinking, okay, well, his name is really Joseph, and he was trying to tell him his name is Joey. But here's the thing: when this woman that I was interviewing, when her mom passed away, they went to go speak to a psychic because they wanted to see if she could tell them any messages their mom wanted to relay to them in the afterlife, because they wanted to like connect with her, like closure kind of thing.
okay.
And didn't tell this woman anything about their house and the hauntings or any of that. They were having this session with this woman because they wanted to see if their mom wanted to say anything to them.
Right.
And she starts rambling on all these things, that your house is haunted. There's a little boy. His name is Joseph. And she was telling them all this stuff, and they're like, oh my God. But the thing that she told them was, when your mom passed away, your mom took Joey with him into the light, told him that his parents were waiting for him on the other side. And the thing I
Mm.
forgot to tell you was, they did find out that Joey was on a camping trip with his parents on that property in the 1920s and fell off of a cliff and died. So, what are the chances of this woman who is a psychic telling them that your mom took Joey to his parents into the light? Is that crazy? That's cool,
That
right?
is insane. That's cool.
So
Yeah.
she'd been kind of like his foster mom all those years in the house,
Mom from
and
the other side, basically,
yeah,
or
and took
son
him
from the
back
other
to his
side.
parents because they were waiting for him. Yeah, I just
That's
love
kind of
that. I
cool.
love that story.
That is a cool story. I like that.
Yeah.
Hmm. Um. So over the years, I like if you've done paranormal, right? That means at some point you had collected either a spirit or an item, most likely, that had stayed with you. Do you have like which one and
I
why?
do feel like before I understood, like you learn as you go along.
Right.
That's why I do sage and bless everything. That's why I wear all of my stones for protection, because I don't want to bring anything home with me. I mean, I've had sleep paralysis over the years, and do I like it? No. But when it started happening to my kid, that was kind of like it drew the line. Like, okay, you are not messing with my kid. And so when that happened, I ended up saging and salting the entire house and doing the blessings, and started wearing the stones and putting the protective oils on, because I don't want to bring anything home. I don't want it. I don't want it messing with me, but I definitely don't want it messing with my family members. So
Right.
I think it's really important that you do make sure to tell them they can't come home with you. I mean,
Yeah.
they say, and I don't know how true it is, but from doing this for several years and research of stuff, I people do say that a lot of people have attachments and don't even realize it. That
Yeah.
they attach themselves and they affect you emotionally
Mm.
and physically. Um, I believe it. I definitely believe it happens, but that's a thing.
Yeah. No, it's kind of crazy because uh there's one uh exploration I had actually done with a friend of mine where when we left, uh you could feel something holding on to you, like while you're leaving, like it was making you slower. It was like draining your energy.
Well, when we did that investigation in that mafia guy's house, everybody in the team was drained at the end of the night. I mean, we were just physically and mentally exhausted. And when we got out the house, we took out the sage and lit it and just saged everyone in the group because it was like such a negative vibe. We didn't want to take any of that shit home with us. So I get that you could feel that for sure.
It's actually it's crazy. You keep saying about the saging. So my one of my aunts, uh, she's always been like a very big believer in everything, in God. She's a preacher. Um, but we had this house that we had moved to. I think I was like 10. But we ended up moving out of it shortly after. So my aunt had came. I think I was younger than that, but either way, she came. She My mom wanted her to sage the house, to cleanse the house, because there was like I was having all these different issues, and my mom wanted to clean it so I could be more comfortable being there.
Well, that's good that she was receptive to.
But what happened when my aunt saged it and made everything worse.
Hmm. I wonder why.
And my aunt came back the second time to try to do it again, to cleanse
Hmm.
it. And at that point, she said, "There's nothing that I can do. Like, it's not like I can feel something very negative, and it's not safe for, especially him, if he's feeling it like this."
That's
And not too long after that,
you
my
moved
mom,
out.
yeah, we all moved out. We moved to a place out in the countryside where the basement had, like, it was like one corner of the basement you couldn't go in without feeling like you're gonna get
Safe.
attacked.
Hmm.
So, um, my mom had that house cleansed, and
It sounds like you
nothing
attract.
happened.
Sounds like you attract negative spirits for some reason. Like Art Peterson, he's one of my team members from New Jersey, and he's been doing this for well over 40 years. Um, he always attracts the negatives and the demons. And when we do an investigation where we get like a history replay, he'll feel all of the negative emotions and the suicides and the deaths and the murders and the wars. Like that's the stuff that he picks up on. So he definitely gets emotionally affected by it way more than anybody else on the team because that's the stuff that he attracts.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're
Well,
very similar.
yeah. My uncle said the same thing. Um, and he's actually, so he was supposed to go with me. So no, 2 years ago, I was going to be paying for the Conjuring House for a weekend when they had it available for it. This before I moved down here, and my uncle was going to go with me. Then he learned about all the stuff on the grounds, and he's like, "Brandon, I don't know if it's safe for you to do that."
Mm,
And he's like, "Sure, I can sage you. I can give you the stones to wear. I can give you all these things to try to keep you safe." But he's like, "I'm not sure if it will."
mm. If
And
the land is that full of energy and that powerful, there's no protection from
right.
that.
And
Yeah.
I had invited him to go to the Hill House, and he said that if I go back a second time, he'll go with me, but he doesn't feel like he'll be able to help me at that place either, based off
Mm,
what he's learned about the place. So it's one of the things where if something happens, I guess at this point it happens. Um, which might not be the best way to go into it, but I'm going in with a level head, not gonna go in instantly thinking negative. Or the part that worries me about going is the sleep paralysis. I won't have anyone to uh help kind of
It's
get me
not
out of
it won't kill you, but it's scary when it happens to you. But what I said, if you're gonna go in by yourself, which it sounds like you have every intention of doing that, no matter what somebody says to you,
yeah.
just go in with a positive mind, go in with your protection because you can't hurt. If you're a faithful man, go in with your faith because it's a huge protection, and
Mhm.
then be considerate of spirit. Be respectful of
Yeah.
them. If you let them know that you're there not to hurt them, but to communicate with them, you're likely going to be able to have a better experience and be safe.
Yeah. Well, the goal is to, again, I wanna test the limits a little bit. Obviously, I know they say not to do certain things by yourself, and I can say at least one of those I don't touch ever since the last time I use it, which is a Ouija board. I let that go a long time ago. I learned my lesson, and I say I learned my lesson by the people I did it with. They never cleared the board and said goodbye. So, which I said bye. They didn't, and I know it doesn't necessarily work like that 100%, but I tried to cover my side, and I could say basically after they all let go, and after I said bye and let go, there was a lot of stuff happened to the house that we were at. Lights were starting to do its thing. Knickknacks were coming off the wall. Candles were flying. Like it was a lot,
Activity.
and it was something I never seen except for movies. And when it was happening, because when I say like flying, like they were being pushed over, knocked off, like the the banister and stuff like that. Sorry, I drew a blank as I was saying.
All right.
But stuff was being knocked off counters, tables, banners, stuff like that. And it was more than I've ever experienced, like in a short time frame. Because it all happened within, it was like 30 seconds after being done, everything
Started
started
happening.
going on. And it went on for about, I want to say it's probably about 2 minutes. Which, when you're locked in a room, because one of the guys, he had his cousin lock us in the room, and his cousin was supposed to be there waiting, but apparently his cousin went upstairs, and he came back down like 5 minutes later to let us out because a couple buddies were freaking out, but like they were yelling. I sat over in the corner. I put the pillow over my head. I was like, I'm not gonna sit there and bang on the door. There's not a reason to. Like, it's either gonna stop or he's gonna open the door. We'll see what happens first. And it stopped before it happened, but they were still going crazy. Uh, which I get it, because it's terrifying when you're stuck in a spot like that. It's terrifying. Um,
You're looking for something to happen, and it happens.
yeah, exactly. It's like I told him, like, we had the conversation afterwards. Is like, you guys never said goodbye. Like, you guys really pissed off whatever the hell it was.
Well, you protected yourself, though. I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, that's how I felt. Is like I did my part, but again, I believe in this stuff really heavy. So,
Mm.
like, I've experienced certain things that a lot of people don't. So I've learned over the time to take that step back if need be. Like, there's no reason to put myself in that situation. Not in a situation of where I know something may happen if I don't. Um, but yeah, it's like that house. We moved out of that one house. That everything was happening shortly after my sister started to get attacked by things, and my sister never believed in the stuff. Not, not real heavy. Like she thought about it, talked with me about it sometimes, but never really believed in it. And like all sleeping because she had something happen to her upstairs. I went and slept in the room. She had something happen, and I said, "Okay, I'll go see what it was." And nothing really happened, but they called me downstairs because pictures were falling off the wall, and like this giant picture my dad had fell off the wall and almost hit her in the head. And if it would have hit her in the head, she would have been busted open. It's one of those hard wooden frames. Like I'm sure you know the frames I'm talking about. The thick wood is like that thick, and it's a heavy picture in its own. But it fell off and almost hit her in the head, and a bunch of crazy stuff was going on. So we all slept in the living room, and not too long after, my dad moved out, got a different place. My mom got her apartment back or whatever it was, and yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, the goal is to do something like that. I like the paranormal stuff. Hey, maybe one day I can try to come up there, team up with you guys for like, but um, is there any?
We do collaborations a lot, like that Morris and Sussex County book that I just released. I have a couple investigations in there that I did with Richie Michella, who's from Morris County. We met several years ago and we collaborated on um, many things over the years. So people do that all the time. And there's also Scaredy Cat Paranormal. We've done things with him. Like it's when you get to know the other paranormals in the industry and you get along with each other. I mean, there's definitely paranormal drama, and if you sense paranormal drama, stay away from those people. You don't want to associate with them. But when
Yeah,
you make connections with other people and you work well together and you look out for each other and you help each other, go for it.
yeah, yeah. Uh, that's true. It's even with stuff like this, like with the podcasting. If you get a good feeling with the person you're talking with,
Hmm.
like you can almost always get that same person back, and maybe you guys start collaborating more on different things, or you
Yeah,
work together on other things. It's
that's how you do it. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's like a whole storybook type deal. You gotta get through the first chapter to be able to get
That's
to know
right.
somebody.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you would like to share, or like, do you have a channel? Do you have
Well, as
like
I mentioned to you earlier, if anyone wants to go back and listen to the podcast, the Creeping It Real podcast, actually, for your audience, if they're looking to collaborate with other paranormals, I interviewed other paranormal groups from around the country and around the world on every episode. So they
okay,
would come on there and they would talk about investigations they did and evidence and stuff like that. So that's Eleanor Wagner's Keeping It Real on Coast to Coast Network or any place that you get your podcast. And then the other one, the Eleanor Wagner's Strange and Scary World, I interviewed people just like you or professionals in the industry of different things, Bigfoot, UFOs, that sort of thing. I met some really interesting people over the years on those podcasts. So you can find those on anywhere you get your podcast. But I do have a YouTube channel, author Eleanor Wagner, um, that has a lot of the episodes on there if they want to go check out that. I have videos on paranormal evidence, I got book teasers, that kind of stuff. But the best place to reach me is through Amazon. And if anyone wants to connect with me to tell me their ghost story, it's author Eleanor Wagner at gmail.com. I love to get messages from people and connect that way. So,
yeah. Well,
and thank you,
hopefully,
Brandon. Thank you so much for having me today. I love talking paranormal, so it was fun. Thank you so much for having me.
yeah, I like to talk about it too. It's hard to find people I can actually talk about it with. So
I hear
I
you.
I appreciate you talking with me about it. I appreciate you joining me with this.
Thank
Um,
you.
hopefully you have
Look,
more
it's a
success.
paranormal adventure.
Yeah,
Let me know
right.
if anything happens at the Hill House. I want to
Oh,
know.
oh, definitely, definitely. I'll probably like I said, end up recording. I might try to get a couple more different recording devices to set up in different rooms.
Get
At
that
least,
audio for sure. You'd be surprised the stuff you catch on audio, I'm telling you.
yeah. Um, yeah. Just hang out a bit after we close this out. But other than that, um, hopefully we have you on for another because I definitely want to. First off, know if you got any other things going on. If you're gonna have another book release, who knows? Or
Thanks. Yeah, I'm working on the Pike County hauntings right now, but it looks like it's going to be Pike and Sussex County hauntings again because they just keep on coming out of the woodwork for me. And then
hey,
when I
that's
go
good though,
up,
right?
yeah, and when I go on up north on my next visit, we are going to do an investigation of the Stillwater Cemetery because it's got a haunted farmhouse right next door that I've got this great story from somebody that's going into the next book. So I'm
So,
really
do
looking
you
forward to that.
record those?
You know what? It's very distracting to record. I mean, that was one of the things that Coast to Coast had wanted me to do. They wanted me to record the investigation. So I did it some of the time, but not all of the time, because it's very distracting when you're trying to be in the midst of stuff happening and recording it. So, no, yes and no, not
That's
100%
where
not
you
all
just
the
set up the
time.
camera, forget it's there, and
Yeah,
do.
it's but you still got to move it because you're not staying in one place. Like if you're in one place and you're doing something, but then you got to move the camera because you're going to another place. See, like when I did that documentary in March, I
Mhm.
was part of the paranormal team doing the investigation. So we had the camera people were there doing their
Okay.
documentary, but they were just observing. They had their cameras running and they were observing because we had like a pre-interview where they asked this question. And I said, once the question stuff is over with, I said, you can't really talk to us during an investigation because you're going to distract things. So really, they got their whole interview stuff over to begin with, and then
Mhm.
they observed and recorded the investigation, which worked out great because it didn't distract from me and what my team was doing, but they still were able to record what was happening. So
Right.
it's much easier if you have somebody else that's doing the recording as opposed to you doing it both. So
Right.
yeah, and I'm always looking for some I'm always trying to help people grow their gifts and pick up new team members and that sort of thing because I want to help them to grow their gifts too. So we've gotten people that are really into the history, which is great. Like I just had this person come with this story and we were trying to find out back history. I'll call up the girls and I'll say, hey, this is the address. Can you try and find some information on background history? And then all of a sudden they'll come with all this stuff and I'll be like, how did you do that? Like I usually get it through social media, but it's really different when they actually get like newspaper clippings and, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just, it depends on like the person and what they're interested in. And I'm always looking for somebody who wants to do the camera thing. But they have to be really into that sort of thing. If they, oh, I love recording, then it's great if they do. But if they don't, like I once had this team member, right? She was this introverted person and I was like, well, she was really into the paranormal. I'm like, you are welcome to come along with us if you'd like. So she came and she was part of the team and she got into all of the gadgets. Never told her buy the gadgets. She was into the gadgets and she went and she spent a fortune on this stuff. And she did that on her own. I never told her to do it because it was what she wanted to do. Um, and that's where her thing was. She was like the gadget girl. She had all the equipment. And actually here in North Carolina, I do have somebody that's into the gadgets too. Like every time we go on an investigation, she's like, "Oh, look what I got! I just got." The most recent thing she got was this light up teddy bear that if there's a child ghost, and we used it actually in that documentary because that little girl spirit that was in that room was really messing with that teddy bear.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like a sensor, right? Like it would light
Yeah,
up and
yeah,
go
yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
it worked great. She was messing with the teddy bear, she was messing with the cat balls, and she was messing with the flashlight, the little girl. And they got it
Okay.
all on camera. But you see, if you're doing the investigation, it's really hard to do the investigation and record at the same time. So
Right.
the fact that they were there with the cameras, they caught all that while it was happening. So, but they, like I said, they had no interaction with us. They were just recording. We were doing all of the because you don't want to mess with, you don't want to be distracted. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. Um, yeah. That's cool though. You found people that I guess they really like what they do.
And
Too
not
bad you
everybody,
guys aren't a little bit
not
closer.
you have to be really careful too, Brendan, because not everybody clicks. I mean, don't trust people too much because in the beginning I had a group where I really trusted these people and I was like, wow, I made some really great friends, and then they tried to screw me over. So that's where I get with the whole paranormal drama. So be very careful who you're with, um, because there are people that'll try and take advantage of you, which is really
Right.
sad. But and they actually don't want me talking about it in the paranormal world, but I want people to know that there are people like that out there, that they just are looking out for themselves and they want to try and take advantage of you, and
Yeah.
just don't let it happen. Just be careful. Watch out for yourself.
Definitely. Definitely. It's too bad you guys aren't closer. I would join you.
I know you're in Texas. Yeah.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
down here in the with the sunshine.
But you know what? I'm sure if you put it out on social media, because when I came to North Carolina, I missed the paranormal investigating aspect of it. So I know I have my team up in New Jersey, and I'm always setting up investigations for them. People are still reaching out to me because of the books. But when I came down here, I didn't have anything. So I just put it out on social media. And of course, I told you I did get those Bible Belt people coming out yelling at me and throwing these Bible verses at me. But I did have other people that reached out and said, um, well, I love the paranormal. I would love to be a part of the group. So I didn't find an established group, but I found people that were interested. So I met up with this other woman who was from Massachusetts who had been a part of a team collaboration there. And she said, let's do our own. So she and I met with each other, and then we had these people that we invited for like an interview sort of, because we wanted to see that they legitimately wanted to learn or were legitimately gifted and not just coming along for a ride, you know? And that's how we established the team in North Carolina. But, there are so, like I said, if you go back on my interviews, there are some teams in Texas. Now, I don't know where you are located or how far you're willing to drive, but
I'm in San Antonio.
you can see if you can connect with any of them, or just put it out on social media. Put it out to say, I really want to be a part of a team, or I'd like to start a team. You'd be surprised at how you can, and then you'll find who you gel with, and who you feel comfortable with, and you take it from there. But
Yeah,
um,
I
well,
figure I got a little bit of time before it gets too much, I guess.
yeah.
But like I have, was it like 7 months, 8 months? When did I say May? I think May for Hill
May.
House. So I have time.
So you had to book it in advance, huh?
Yeah. Well, when I was trying to book it last year, it was over a year of
Waiting.
bookings already. So I was like, okay,
Wow.
I'm gonna book it out a little farther. It gives me time to get some of the equipment and everything like that. Because I already have two phones that I'll use to record. Then I have an old
Bring bring
camera.
some bring some cat balls with you. They're
Yep, I have
cheap stuff.
four
The
cat balls and two EMF readers.
good. Little flashlights, those little flashlights, those work are good. Your phone recorder is just as good. Like, you don't have to spend a fortune to have stuff that
No,
works, honestly.
not
Dowsing rods are really cheap too and very easy to use.
okay.
Uh, yeah, and let
All
me know
right.
what happens. Let me know what happens.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Like I said, it'll probably be recorded. I might even throw it on this channel just to keep everything like voice in the void goes exploring.
Uh-huh. Good.
Um, but yeah, hopefully I can get you back on. I'd love to talk to you again. This was
Anytime.
a fun conversation.
Anytime.
Um, everybody go check out her book. Obviously, I'm gonna tag you and I'll make sure you're added in for a collaboration on YouTube.
Thank you.
So you'll also get that notification, and it'll help people whoever watches uh the videos on YouTube. They will be able to see your channel straight from there as well.
Thank you.
So, um, make sure you guys go check out author Eleanor Wagner. Go check out her book. Go check out basically anything she does. Sounds like a really interesting woman.
Thank you.
um, but again, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.